I never thought I'd be that person. You know, the one telling this kind of story. But here I am. I walked into my own apartment and found my fiancé in bed with my sister. Yeah, you heard that right. My sister. Not some random woman. Not a coworker. Not an ex that came back into the picture. My actual blood sister. The same person I shared a bunk bed with growing up. The same person who knew my fiancé because I introduced them at a family barbecue 2 years ago. The same person who cried happy tears when Jake proposed to me on the beach last summer. That sister. And when I stood there in complete shock, groceries literally falling out of my hands and hitting the floor, she looked me dead in the eyes and said, I was feeling lonely. Lonely. That was her excuse. Like loneliness is a free pass to destroy your sister's entire life. But let me back up because the story gets so much worse before it gets better. My name's Emma, and 3 months ago, I thought I had everything figured out. I was 28, engaged to the man I thought was my soulmate, planning a wedding for late spring, and honestly just living my best life. Jake and I had been together for 4 years. We met at a coffee shop, cliché I know, but it was one of those moments where we just clicked instantly. He was funny, smart, had a good job in marketing, and treated me like I was the most important person in the world. Or so I thought. My sister Melissa is 2 years younger than me. She's always been the wild child of the family. Never could hold down a relationship for more than a few months, always jumping from job to job, constantly creating drama wherever she went. But she was my sister, you know. And despite all her chaos, I loved her. I always had her back. Maybe that was my first mistake. About 6 months before the incident, Melissa had gone through another brutal breakup. Some guy named Chris who she swore was the one until he wasn't. She was a mess, crying at random times, showing up at my place at midnight, calling me 17 times a day. I felt bad for her. I really did. So I did what any good sister would do. I was there for her. Jake was supportive too. He'd make extra dinner when Melissa came over. He'd crack jokes to make her laugh. He even helped her move into a new apartment after she and Chris broke up. I remember thinking how lucky I was to have a guy who cared about my family like that. Man, was I an idiot. Looking back now, I can see all the signs I missed. The way they'd sometimes stop talking when I walked into a room. How Melissa started dressing differently when she knew Jake would be around. The random texts from Jake that he'd explain away as just checking on your sister. How he suddenly became super interested in Melissa's problems and would spend an hour on the phone with her giving her advice. I thought he was just being nice. I thought he was being a good future brother-in-law. Nope. Turns out he was being a cheating piece of garbage. The day I found out was a regular Tuesday. Nothing special about it. I left work early because I had a headache and just wanted to come home, take some medicine, and crash on the couch. I stopped at the grocery store to grab stuff for dinner, thinking I'd surprise Jake with his favorite meal since he'd been stressed about work lately. I walked up to our apartment, 2nd floor, end of the hall. I could hear music playing inside, which was weird because Jake usually didn't get home until 6, and it was only 4:30. I figured maybe he'd had the same idea as me and left work early. I unlocked the door and walked in. And that's when my entire world fell apart. The living room was empty, but I could hear sounds coming from the bedroom. At first, my brain didn't want to accept what I was hearing. You know that moment where reality is hitting you in the face, but your mind is like, nah, that can't be what I think it is. Yeah, that. I walked down the hallway. Each step felt like I was moving through concrete. The bedroom door was halfway open. And there they were, Jake and Melissa, in my bed, in the bed I shared with my fiancé, tangled up in the sheets I just washed 3 days ago. I must have made a sound because they both looked up at the same time. The looks on their faces would have been funny if my heart wasn't literally breaking into a million pieces. Jake went white as a sheet. Melissa's eyes went huge. And me. I just stood there holding a bag of groceries like a complete fool. Emma, Jake started, jumping up and grabbing his pants. Oh my God, Emma, I can explain, Melissa said at the exact same time. I couldn't move, couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. I just stared at them. Jake was pulling his shirt on, talking fast. This isn't what it looks like. I swear we were just what? I finally found my voice. It came out weird and shaky. Just accidentally ended up naked in my bed. Melissa wrapped the sheet around herself. And this is the part that still makes my blood boil. She had tears in her eyes. Actual tears. Like she was the victim here. Emma, please, she said. I was feeling lonely. I blinked at her. You were feeling lonely? Yes. After Chris, I've been so alone, and Jake was just being nice to me, and things just happened. We didn't mean for it to happen, I swear. I looked at Jake. How long? He wouldn't meet my eyes. Emma. How long? 2 months, he whispered. 2 months. Not a one-time mistake. Not a drunken accident at a party. 2 months of lying to my face. 2 months of him kissing me goodbye in the morning, and then probably texting my sister the second I left. 2 months of family dinners where they sat across from each other pretending nothing was happening while I smiled like an idiot, completely clueless. I felt the grocery bag slip from my hands. A jar of pasta sauce hit the floor and shattered. Red sauce splattered everywhere, all over the hardwood, all over my shoes. Nobody moved. Get out, I said quietly. Emma, please, let's talk about this. Jake took a step toward me. Don't you dare come near me. My voice was getting louder. Get your stuff and get out of my apartment. Now. It's my apartment too. I pay half the rent. I don't care. I was screaming now. Full on screaming. Get out. Both of you, get out. Melissa started crying harder. Emma, please, you're my sister. No. I cut her off. A sister doesn't do this. A sister doesn't sleep with her sister's fiancé. A sister doesn't destroy her sister's life because she's feeling lonely. You're not my sister anymore. I'll never forget the look on her face when I said that. But honestly, I didn't care. I grabbed my phone and walked out of my own apartment because I couldn't stand to be in the same space as them for one more second. I ended up at my best friend Rachel's house. She took one look at my face and pulled me inside. I told her everything. She let me cry on her couch for 3 hours straight. She called me out of work the next day. She helped me figure out what to do next. The next few days were a blur. Jake tried calling me about 100 times. I blocked his number. Melissa showed up at Rachel's place crying and begging me to forgive her. I slammed the door in her face. My mom called, confused about why Melissa was saying I wouldn't talk to her. I had to explain the whole situation, and let me tell you, that was a fun conversation. She did what? My mom's voice went so high I thought she might shatter glass. My dad got on the phone. Emma, sweetheart, come stay with us for a while. So I did. I packed up everything from the apartment while Jake was at work. I left my key on the counter with my engagement ring. I didn't leave a note. What was there to say? The hardest part was telling everyone else. Canceling the wedding venue. Returning the dress. Explaining to relatives why the wedding was off. Some people were supportive. Others, not so much. My Aunt Linda actually said, well, maybe you should hear Melissa's side of the story. She's going through a tough time. I hung up on her. But here's where the story takes a turn. Because about a week after I moved out, my cousin Sarah called me. Sarah is Melissa's age, and they used to be close. Emma, I need to tell you something, she said. And you're probably going to be mad I didn't tell you sooner. Turns out, this wasn't the first time Melissa had done something like this. Back in high school, she'd hooked up with Sarah's boyfriend at a party. Sarah forgave her because family is family. In college, Melissa had kissed our other cousin's fiancé at a wedding. That cousin didn't forgive her, which is why they haven't spoken in 5 years. There was a pattern. Melissa had a history of going after guys who were taken, especially if they belonged to someone in the family. I think she likes the thrill of it, Sarah said quietly. Like, proving she can take someone away from someone else makes her feel powerful or something. I should have warned you when you introduced her to Jake, but I thought maybe she'd grown out of it. I was furious. Not just at Melissa and Jake anymore, but at everyone who knew what kind of person she was and never said anything. But then something else happened. Jake called me from a number I didn't have blocked. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. What do you want? Emma, please, I made a huge mistake. Melissa and I, it's over. It meant nothing. She meant nothing. I love you. Please take me back. I actually laughed. You're kidding, right? I'm serious. I called off whatever that was with her. I told her it was wrong and I want you back. We can go to couples counseling. We can work through this. Let me get this straight, I interrupted. You cheated on me with my sister for 2 months, got caught. And now that you've had time to think about it, you've decided I'm the better option? Wow, Jake. How romantic. That's not what I'm saying. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to stay far away from me. You're going to stop calling. You're going to move on with your life, and I'm going to move on with mine. And maybe one day, years from now, I'll be able to think about you without wanting to throw up. But today is not that day. I hung up. He tried a few more times. Sent flowers to my parents' house. Showed up at my work once. I threatened to call the police, and he finally got the message. Melissa tried too. She sent me long emails about how sorry she was, how Jake had manipulated her, how she was the real victim because he promised her they'd be together, and then dumped her to try to get back with me. I deleted every single one without reading past the first line. My parents were amazing through all of this. My dad literally told Melissa she wasn't welcome at family events if I was there. My mom stopped calling her. They chose me, which I know is hard for them because she's their daughter too. But they saw what she did, and they didn't try to excuse it. Now, 3 months later, I'm doing okay. Some days are harder than others. I moved into a new apartment with Rachel as my roommate. I got a promotion at work. I've been going to therapy to work through the trust issues this whole thing created. I haven't spoken to Melissa. I saw her once at the grocery store and turned around and walked the other way. I'm not ready for that conversation. Maybe I never will be. As for Jake, I heard through mutual friends that he tried dating Melissa for real after I refused to take him back. It lasted 3 weeks. Shocking absolutely no one, they couldn't make it work when the thrill of sneaking around was gone. People keep asking me if I'll ever forgive them. Honestly, I don't know. Right now, I'm focused on healing and moving forward. I'm rediscovering who I am outside of being someone's fiancé. I'm rebuilding my life. And you know what I've learned? I deserve better than both of them. I deserve someone who won't betray me the second things get difficult. I deserve family members who actually act like family. The wedding would have been next month. Instead of walking down the aisle, I'll be taking a trip to Italy with Rachel. We booked it last week. I'm using the money I would have spent on the honeymoon. Life's weird like that sometimes. You think you have everything planned out, and then it all falls apart. But you pick up the pieces. You keep going. You survive. And honestly, I'm stronger now than I was before. I know my worth. I know what I won't tolerate. And I know that anyone who would say I was feeling lonely as an excuse for betrayal isn't someone I need in my life. So yeah, that's my story. My fiancé cheated on me with my sister, and she had the audacity to blame it on loneliness. But I'm still here, still standing, still moving forward, and that's all that matters.